Hey crypto friends, for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Garrett and welcome to Altcoin Radar. Today's educational video is going to be all about how to spot the beginning of a potential downtrend with just price action. Now, for those of you who love trading crypto and would like to try out the same exchange that I use on a daily basis, feel free to go ahead and try out the Blowfin exchange here with the link in the video description down below this video. I personally love this exchange because they allow anybody from anywhere to be able to sign up and trade crypto futures. So if you are from the United States and you want to trade crypto futures, you can do it right here on the Blowfin exchange. All right, guys, so we are just going to go ahead and dive right into this video because I do not like to waste time. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So there's two things that I want to talk about here, all right? So when you are trying to find potential tops, or I guess you could say knowing when a potential reversal to the downside might be happening, you can do it on pretty much any time frame that you're trading. For instance, people who are trading the longer term swings on the daily chart and the 4-hour charts, and for people who are trading like, you know, the 15-minute charts and the 5-minute charts as well, all right? It's the same concept through pretty much any time frame, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be showing you different examples on different time frames as well. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about here is the one way that you can find out and figure out where a potential top is and when we might start to reverse to the downside is with candle suppression, which typically means that buyers are getting weaker and sellers are starting to take over, and just overall candle suppression in general. Okay. Now what I mean by that is I'm going to show you some examples here on the daily chart, okay? Let me go ahead and take out my volume here because that's kind of in the way and it's kind of annoying. So, all right, so now we've got just the candles here and we are just strictly looking at the candles and nothing else. And this is what I'm talking about here when I'm talking about just looking at price action itself, okay? Because you can tell a lot by what the market is doing just by looking at the overall structure of the candles themselves, okay? So as you guys can clearly see in this big rise up and on Solana here on the daily chart, we can clearly see that we had some very nice upward movement all the way up, right? Now, once we started to get near the top, we started seeing some candle suppression, and you can see that going on right in here, okay? This is the first area where it started to show candle suppression. All right, and you can clearly see that with these two candles right here. Okay, we had two spinning tops in a row, actually 3 spinning tops in a row, and as you can clearly see, we had a green spinning top followed by a red spinning top followed by another red spinning top. I know they're not actually red, mine are white, but whatever. And that right there tells you, and you can clearly see that, you know, we rose up on both of them in a row, but we ended up coming all the way down and closing below it, or pretty far down below. That right there is suppression, and you can clearly see that visually right in the candle itself. And then the third one did as well. Now, this is going to tell you right here that, okay, even though we started to go down a little bit, this is why we have support and resistance levels as well. So as you can clearly see right here, I had my support level, but as you can clearly see, price did not end up going down to this support level, okay? We can clearly see that obviously it did end up instead going upwards in the next candle above it. Now, when we got to this next candle above, we started with that price suppression, or that candle suppression once again. This time it got even worse. You can clearly see the indecision that buyers and sellers were having within this candle itself, all right? The small little tiny body with both, you know, good sized wicks on both sides, that right there tells you that there's a lot of indecision between both buyers and sellers, and they don't know what to do, okay? So that right there tells you that, okay, the market is starting, or the market in this specific coin is starting to get weakened, and the next candle may end up opening to the downside, which, as you can clearly see, that's exactly what happened. We actually ended up opening and going back up, but we did not go up past the top of the previous candle. And instead, we ended up coming all the way back down, and we had this big empty wick at the top once again. That right there, again, candle suppression. All right, now the next candle ended up opening, and the same thing happened. We ended up having another spinning top right here, and we ended up, you know, going all the way down and up and whatever, and having these long wicks right here, and we ended up going down with the next big candle much bigger. And that kind of is how you can tell overall the strength of momentum within the overall market just by looking at the candles. You can get all of that information just by looking at the individual candles and seeing what they are actually doing here, okay? Now, I'll give you another example here as well. So we ended up going down, right? And then we ended up retracing back up a little bit and going back down. And then we got to this level right here. This was kind of like a little level of indecision once again. All right, we kind of had this little area right in here, okay? Now, once we ended up coming down and testing this or retesting this support level, like I was talking about back here, we tested the support level and we ended up closing above it every single time. So that shows us right there that, okay, we still had some decent bullish momentum in there, but it clearly is not strong enough to go back above this little resistance area that we created back here when we started to show weakened momentum in the first place. So, and you can clearly see that in these wicks as well, okay? Because once again, right here, again, we are back to the empty wicks and small bodies once again, and we've got all of these different spinning tops going on once again. Instead, we had, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 spinning top candles in a row, and you can see with the candle wicks themselves, each one of them started getting longer and longer as they started going up. We had this one, and then this one, and then this one. And then this one was much, much smaller, which tells you that buying volume is starting to decrease. And then obviously the next one opens and it comes out to be red, and it's even smaller than the previous candle. And that tells you right there that, okay, bearish momentum is really starting to take over. We're probably going to end up dropping past this support level and dropping even further. All right. And that right there tells you and shows you that overall we had a bunch of weakened momentum going on right there, and we can fully expect that the price is most likely going to end up going back to the downside once again. So that is one thing that you can look for here when you are trying to decipher where a potential top might be in the overall market here, okay? The first one is candle suppression, okay? Just all you got to do is look at these candle wicks and look at the candles themselves, and they should be able to tell you exactly what is going on as far as the overall momentum in the market for that specific coin, okay? Now, the other way that you can tell for potential tops that could be happening here is also going to be, let me go ahead and pick a random coin. We'll pick Dogecoin. Oh, actually, this is perfect. So we've got Dogecoin here, all right? So obviously, it's not the same top structure as we saw on Solana here, okay? We don't have very much price suppression going on within these candles on the Dogecoin chart, all right? But we do have something else that we can clearly see, clear as day, okay? Now, this is the second way that you can tell if a potential reversal is about to happen, okay? So it's not just about candle suppression. It is also about various different patterns that we are seeing on the chart as well. So Dogecoin had this big move to the upside, and then it had a continuation to the upside, but you can tell within this continuation that it was not as strong as this straight up movement that we had back here. So even though it's going straight up, we can clearly see just with basic trading patterns or charting patterns that we have got going on here. Let me go ahead and mark it out. Oh, there's one and there's another one. So as you guys can clearly see, we have a gigantic, we've got a gigantic bear flag going on right here, okay? Bear flags typically form, bear flags typically form upwards like that. It's kind of like an upward momentum channel, as you can clearly see right there. And it typically signifies that overall, buyers are starting to lose momentum and bears are starting to gain momentum, and you can clearly see that happening right within here because it's obviously not a straight upward move like we had going on right here, okay? So this is a good signal right here when you have continuations like this after a big move to the upside. Sorry, I need some water. After we have a big move to the upside here, you can clearly see that there's all kinds of indecision and movements of going up and down and up and down and up and down, up in an upward fashion. And that right there creates this overall bear flag that we've got going on right here. Or it can also obviously, this is technically, this could also be considered a rising wedge too. So rising wedge patterns and bearish flag patterns typically usually result in a move to the downside, especially when they are on larger time frames like the daily time frame right here. So overall here, guys, I know this video was kind of short, but hopefully I gave out some pretty good valuable information for you guys to follow and will help you out in the long term here. So you want to be looking for candle suppressions. Again, let's go back and check real quick. You want to be looking for candle suppressions right up in here. Look at the size of the overall bodies of the candles themselves, the size of the wicks as well, and they can give you all kinds of good information. Now, what I would suggest you do is to go to the daily chart and do some back testing and just look at previous drops as well, and kind of look for these different indicators as far as overall candle suppression or continuations that form rising wedges or bear flags, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here. So overall here, guys, before I go ahead and wrap up this video, if you want to see more videos like this, you can go ahead and check out my playlist here on my channel. It is called Technical Analysis, and this is where I go ahead and I park all of these very valuable trading information type videos. You can find them all right here in my Technical Analysis playlist. But overall here, guys, before you go ahead and leave, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment below on your personal thoughts of what you thought of this video. And with that said, for those of you guys who stuck around and watched this entire video throughout the whole thing, thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I hope to see you all in my future videos.